Hello, I'm Peter Caborn, Executive Director of the Wayne State University Alumni Association. One of the favorite parts of my job is hearing all of the wonderful accomplishments of our alumni. I'm amazed at the talent, dedication, passion, and desire to affect change that our alumni exhibit on a daily basis. The collective impact truly spans the globe. Each year, the Alumni Association Board of Directors has the tough job of choosing a select few from the more than 290,000 graduates in the Wayne State alumni community to honor with our Alumni Awards. It's no easy task, but each year a few rise to the top. These awards recognize the accomplishments of outstanding alumni who exemplify the Wayne State spirit of achievement, excellence, and service. Awardees are named in two categories. The Homer D. Strong Award. This award's presented for distinguished service to the Alumni Association and the university. With the Homer D. Strong Award, we recognize individuals who encourage alumni participation and give back to the university through volunteer leadership. The Distinguished Alumni Award, conferred by the president of the university at the recommendation of the Alumni Association, this award recognizes individuals who've made a distinct impact in their field and serve as role models. Through their personal and professional lives, these alumni bolster the visibility of Wayne State and the university community. Today, we celebrate our exceptional awardees from the past 2 years, 2020 and 2021. Their stories showcase the diverse talents and achievements of Wayne State alumni. These 5 individuals lead by example, and we can all share in the pride of how they represent Wayne State alumni.
It was an Aristotle quote 2,000 years ago. All who have meditated on the art of governing mankind realize that the fate of empires depends upon the education of our youth. And I so believe that. So my heartbeat and passion was to focus on how to help children in their families, in their communities. But my heartbeat was around children because of what was poured into my life at a very young age, right? I reflect back on my early years as a young girl, I think maybe 9 or 10. I had a senior neighbor who I would go visit every single day. She was very senior, and she was always speaking words of wisdom into me about helping others and putting others first and being a blessing to others. And so as I thought about that, right, at that young age, I always wanted to be a helper with others. So I chose social work as a profession. Went to Wayne State University, and we're a helping profession. So in that, I discovered I had great joy helping others. I had great joy helping families and great joy helping children. Reflecting on my career, every step I've taken, beginning at Boysville of Michigan, Diversified Youth Services, Black Family Development, and now here at this school, it's been broadening my scope about the needs of kids and families. It's about juvenile justice services, it's about health and wellness, it's about mental health services, it's about education, it's about quality of life. So all these pieces fit together, which says to me, to help kids and families, you must focus on all of these issues that impact their life, right? I also believe this, that in where I live in this community, it does take a village to raise a child. I'm part of that village. I give all I can to give support to parents and children in the community in helping them do the best they can for their children. I also speak boldly to families and kids that every single person is born with gifts and talents, every single one. And what our job in this school here is to do this, is to help young people discover their gifts and talents, perfect those gifts and talents, walk in those gifts and talents, to be walking in their purpose. Seeing these children down the hallways, preschool, kindergarten, first grade on up, gives me great joy. And I'm always speaking words of encouragement, words of inspiration, that you matter, that we love you, right? You have a great destiny. Look at my young doctor here. Now they're only in kindergarten, Look at my young lawyer. Look at my great teacher here. Speaking words of encouragement, right? So it gives me joy. And so that has driven my life throughout my career of my over 40 some years doing this work. It's been laser focused on children, in their families, in their communities. Over the last 40 years, when I think about what I'm most proud of are the contributions I have made in every step of the way. Putting others first, being a servant leader, and developing some great programs, in particular at Black Family Development. When I came in that role as the CEO, I was laser focused in trying to bring in resources to advance the mission of the organization. So I'm most proud of us being able to work with Wayne County government to establish in this county what's called care management organizations, where Wayne County privatized juvenile justice services and funded agencies that would begin to work in specific geographic areas. And so toward that end, I chose East Side of Detroit, one of the most challenged communities in the state of Michigan. I chose that to anchor our work. So I'm proud of that decision I made and how we have moved to help children in those neighborhoods develop greater pathways of their life. Every day, I wake up asking myself this, and I also go to bed asking myself this. Did I make a difference in the lives of anyone today? That's my ending piece. My morning piece is, I am determined to make a difference in the lives of somebody today.
I think that probably the quality that has helped me the most is just being curious, both in my academic work at Wayne State and even in an undergraduate, but particularly at Wayne State in graduate school, as well as a museum professional and public historian. I really believe in the idea that history, and particularly memory, is not just about the past, but is really about the present and about the future. And I think that I felt that museums really are a great opportunity to bring people together to explore the past, but really come together to chart a better course toward the future. You know, I don't just want to create an experience where people feel like they can travel back in time because that's a fun thing to do. Because for many people, going back in time would not be a fun thing to do because of racism, because of sexism, because of genocide, because of all of the issues that were part of our history. And so I started getting more comfortable and had to work trying to get the institutions where I worked more comfortable with the idea of making people uncomfortable. One of the programs of which I'm most proud are a program called Join the Student Sit-ins, which we started in 2008. And it's based at the iconic Greensboro lunch counter from Woolworth store in Greensboro, North Carolina, where on February 1st, 1960, 4 African-American college students at North Carolina A&T sat down and politely asked for service. And when they were refused that service, they politely refused to leave and just kept sitting there. And when the restaurant closed, they came back the next day, and then more of them came back the following day. And that turned into an event that brought more young people into the civil rights movement and changed the course of the movement and also this nation. In 2008, we started a program called Join the Student Sit-ins that was intended to take people back to that moment when it was not an iconic part of history that is now in the National History Museum, but this emotional learning that we were able to create through this interactive experiential theater program let people understand in a different way than they otherwise would that yes, this movement and many other movements were really about enough people making the decision that we're going to make changes in this country because I say we are, and enough people agreed with them and made those changes. And that was really one of the things when you study the civil rights movement as a scholar, you realize and you talk to people who lived through it, that the change within themselves was often the biggest change that occurred. And I think for many visitors, that understanding of this personal decision that people made was something that would be hard for people to understand by reading a book. It'd be hard for people to understand by watching a film about it. But the way that we were able to use and experience provided that emotional learning that is just very different, and people, came away with an understanding that they wouldn't have otherwise. I think today we are at one of those moments where history is really top of mind for so many people. And I'm hoping that we can really take advantage of this moment, because while history is top of mind right now, it's always there. And it's always important for people in understanding who they are today and who they will be tomorrow. When I was in graduate school at Wayne State, I entered it with an idea that I would move toward a PhD and become a scholar teaching in a university. And I thought, that's what real history is. Though I worked in public history for 3 or 4 years, I had a lot of fun at it, and I thought that we had provided a lot of value by giving people information and making people more knowledgeable. But I felt like the real work of history happened in the academy and so forth. And over the years, I started thinking differently and thinking how important that this work was more and more important, and that it needed the connection with the academic work and that rigorousness. But in and of itself, it was some of the most important work we can do and that is needed in our society. And so that recognition for the work, I'm just so grateful and humbled by it.
When I was young, my personal mission was just to prove everybody wrong. I mean, I think everybody kind of wants to do that. Then I just wanted to prove that I could do it and prove that to other people. And now my mission is to prove to others that they can do it. I'm the Deputy Chief Scientist at the Ground Vehicle Systems Center. We are the research arm of the U.S. Army for Ground Systems. Our responsibility in the Office of the Chief Scientist is all of the scientists and all of the university research. We work to connect that with our soldiers and our associates. We're also really interested in developing people as well. A lot of women have what I call imposter syndrome. They feel like they're not good enough, they feel like they're not smart enough, and they really just need somebody, not their family, to say, you are good enough, you can do it, you are smart enough. And I think it's as simple as that. I've talked with many male colleagues. When I went to undergrad, I was one of the only women, and they never worried about that. They were just, this is what they wanted to do, and they were going to go do it. And so I think it's really, really important. Also, you have to pay it forward, right? You don't get anywhere by yourself as an engineer. Engineering solutions and wins are team efforts always, and so you have to pay back somehow. Otherwise, you're just not being honest with yourself. Mentoring is a two-way street for people. No matter how young or how old, you both can learn from each other, and that has been one of the most amazing things that I've learned. I had a great mentor growing up at an undergrad who said to me, you could get your PhD. And before that, it never would have occurred to me, but to have somebody personally who knew me to say that to me really changed my perspective and planted that seed that many years later came true. And as I've been mentoring people who are younger than me or earlier in their career, I learned so much from them, even though they claim I'm mentoring them. I hope that there's like myself, little seeds planted for these women's futures, whatever that future may hold. I have women say to me, can you get a PhD and have a baby? The answer is yes. Can you have a husband and be successful? Can you do these things? And the answer is yes. And so the hope is just that those little seeds are planted so that when they make their decisions, they can fulfill what they really, really want.
Before going to Wayne State, I really know almost nothing about scientific research. In Wayne State, during my PhD training, I have got many knowledge, experience regarding the literature search, the knowledge about pharmacology, how to design experiment, how to do a good presentations. So Wayne State truly helped me in many ways for my career development, starting from graduate school to a researcher and physician scientist at Harvard. So we observed some patients develop learning memory impairment after surgery and after anesthesia. And we try to figure out why that happens. And we starting with the drug anesthetics, and we found potentially different anesthetics may have different effect. We show that anesthetics can potentially causing some changes consistent with Alzheimer's disease. So that's something new, something to see that, wow, so the drug we're using every single day may not be that safe, may have some downside, may have some side effect. So how can we do something and then try to find out potential treatment to take care of patient better, to have a better outcome. So I think that the personal mission will be two. Number one, the obligation to help a patient, help our society. Secondly, to train and teach, educate many young scientists. If I, as a clinician, I take care of patient, maybe I can take probably 4 to 5 patients per day. But for the researcher, if we can identify some drugs are toxic, some drugs are not, that will initiate more study to either remove this drug from market or find better drug in the future. This outcome from research can help much more people because that the news will spread for every doctors. And they will think about to use this drug or not use this drug when they're facing a different patient. It's truly a great honor. It's like a dream come true. So I will never think about that in 1989 when I first stepped in the door of the Wayne State. So I truly appreciate that. So I think the great honor offered by the whole Wayne State University Society, and I will carry that on to try to have more impact to Wayne State community and particularly to our young alumni. And this is a very special place in my heart for Wayne State University.
As I look back and forward, I am most happy when I see success in others and feel that I played a small part in that success. So when I look at either through work or through mentoring, through my connections in the community, when people who have crossed my path and we've counseled or helped, I feel really good when good is done and when success is realized. When I started at Wayne, I didn't know a living soul. It's kind of a daunting, somewhat scary situation when you have a 17-year-old kid coming into a university setting by itself. And I felt that if ever there was opportunities to give back, then that's what should happen. We in the Organization of Black Alumni felt it was very, very, very important through mentoring to give back to those students who may have been in the same situation as we were. That foundational base of mentorship has been part of me since those days. Through the OBA membership, through the mentoring programs, through the work I've done at Blue Cross where I worked, and through the work I've done with the math department. I felt it was very, very important to expose students to careers, particularly in the health industry, that were STEM related, but may or may not have hit the radar screen. These students need to know that if you're a math major, there are all kinds of jobs out there for you. And it's always about sharing experiences, providing that linkages between the alumni and the students, and hopefully embedding in students those things that I learned along the way, and maybe they could take away some of those things that would benefit them down the road. Extremely honored, extremely humbled. When we started this whole Organization of Black Alumni drive, it wasn't to receive awards. It was just trying to add value. And recognition for what we do is very, very, very humbling. I also feel that there's 7 or 8 other people that should be sitting here as well. It was not a one-man show. It was a team drive with a bunch of individuals that worked collectively as a unit to develop, create, and mentor. I feel really good when I can help someone. And I think it's a very important piece of being a human being is helping, being a servant to others.
Thank you for celebrating our Alumni Award winners for 2020 and 2021. They hail from different schools and colleges, different degrees and programs, and different fields of study. Their individual contributions to Wayne State and to the community at large are invaluable. They truly represent the very best of Wayne State University. I thank each of them for allowing us to honor them for their exceptional achievements. Thank you again for joining us.